Hello, my name is Luke Mund, and I am the Regional Digital Coach for the Southeast region. Today I'm going to walk you through Pear Deck and how to use Pear Deck for your remote learning classroom. Pear Deck is a very easy to use tool and can bring what you're already doing with great instruction in your classroom and bring it to the remote setting. To start off, I'm going to recommend the Pear Deck guide. If you have never used Pear Deck before, this will walk you through how to get the add-on, how to use the basic features in here. So I'm not going to go into the technical things here. I'm going to refer you to this link. It is linked in the video description and linked below in this document. The basic way to use Pear Deck is that I'm going to add it to the lesson I already have. So say this is a full social studies lesson. I know it's not done all the way, but I want to add in Pear Deck. I can either click the Pear Deck icon up here or go to add-ons and go to Pear Deck. It's going to open up this side panel, and here will be my add-ons for this. So I have on this slide 3 questions for my students to answer. In my normal traditional classroom, I would ask these of the students and have them write them in my journal in my class. But I don't have that right now because we're in remote setting and I need to be able to get the work from the students digitally. So I'm going to click this icon here, text, and what it's going to do is it's going to overlay this slide with a text question. So when my students get to this slide, they will be asked to write their responses. I have 3 parts here, so I'll make sure that they are giving all 3 parts of this. My next slide is a reading, so I don't need to do anything with that. But then I have a timeline for my reading. Now, I want this to be an activity that they are doing digitally. So I need to change this up a little bit because I don't actually have any instructions here. Normally, this is where I would stop my lesson and give instructions. So I'm going to add in a new little text box here. Okay, so I'm going to ask them to graph the revolutions here, and I'm going to use a draggable. Now, there are 6 different add-ons that you can do. Draggable is one of my favorites because students get to move things around on the screen, so I'm going to choose some different little icons here. Change up my colors, and I'm going to update the slide. Then students have the instructions as to what they're going to do. They're going to place their icons on the 3 timelines, and we're ready to go. My last slide here, again, I have text that I want them to do, or I could change it to multiple choice, whatever, but I'm going to go text. And again, let's pretend that my lesson is fully done, even though it's not, and I'm ready to give this remotely for my students. I'm going to do that by clicking the present icon here in Pear Deck, not the traditional Google Slides presentation here. So I'm going to go present lesson. It's going to then open up my lesson as Pear Deck. So it's going to open up, and here's how I get my students in. They go to joinpd.com and they go to this code. So you can post this in your Google Classroom, you can post this in your Schoology, you can send this in an email communication, however you want to get it out to your students, that this is going to be the lesson for today, joinpd.com, and use this code. So I can close that now after, say, I've copied that down, and I want my students to do this. Normally in Pear Deck, I'm controlling the presentation. As I switch between my slides, the students' screens will change, but we're working remotely. So for this, I'm going to come down here to my settings at the bottom right, and I'm going to turn on self-paced mode. This will allow my students to work on their own pace through the lesson. So it doesn't matter what time of day they're accessing this, they can come through and answer the 3 icons on this one, answer the questions on the next slide, and they can complete the lesson independently and remotely. Very cool. I've taken my normal presentation from my classroom and made it remote lesson. Super easy. If I come to peardeck.com, there's one more feature I want to show you, and that is Pear Pop. And this is one of their new features here in Pear Deck. So I can choose a prompt, and I don't actually even need to make a Google Slides presentation or PowerPoint or anything. I can just grab some of their prompts here and add it to my remote classroom. So I can take an ending from my class, say this one here. Again, grab the code and the link for my students, drop that into my Schoology or Google Classroom or whatever, and then I can have my students write on this. It's a very nice pre-built closure for my day, so I don't even need to worry about anything, but I can see what my students did today, and they can either draw or type, so I can get some different modalities in there, and it's awesome. If you have any questions about Pear Deck, please reach out to one of us digital coaches. We are here to help. Otherwise, enjoy.